Well, I mean, I think that's a fairly easy answer. I would, to me, the fact that government is doing what you've just said is itself a reflection of what participatory citizenship can do. They didn't start out that way, but they had enough people who had wandered around trying to figure out the system and had complained about how difficult it was, that somebody said, well, let's try to make it better, or let's set up an ombudsman's office to be the point of contact for a citizen. Generally, it's not as easy as that. You may find out, I mean, there generally is a reason why, for instance, in my book, I talk about this experience at Carroll City, and we did the same thing. We had the students get together, select a topic, and that a third of their final grade would depend on what they were able to do about it. And that got them focused on local issues. They took on some pretty significant issues. One, Carroll City, where I was teaching, was predominantly African-American school. There'd been a long rumor that it didn't get the same allocation of county school funds per student as an all-white school about 10 miles away. And that was a rumor. And one group of students wanted to take it on and see if it had any validity, and which required them to learn some basic principles of how you read a budget, and then they had to learn how to go down to the school board and get an appointment with the chief financial officer and persuade him to give them the background materials, which he probably thought was a waste of time that they couldn't, and then be surprised when they were able to come up with the analysis that indicated the rumor was in fact true, and they were the driving force to get it resolved. So once you get to the right office, that's a good, that's on first base, but to score a run, you've got to also do some things to get to second and third and home.
In terms of integrating participatory action and governance throughout curriculum, Tufts University, I think, has a good model. Their school of, I think they call it this, the School of Citizen Engagement or Civic Engagement or Citizenship, some variation of that. But it's not a school or a college that teaches courses on its own. They don't teach courses or have their own faculty, but their charge is to work with faculty across the units, the different units, academic units of the university, to instill some kind of a participatory or civic component into engineering courses, pharmacy courses, and of course the political science and public administration courses.
One of the things that I'm involved with now is at the college level. Almost every college and university which is accredited in the United States has in their mission statement some reference to citizenship. The reality is that the regional accrediting agencies virtually ignore that commitment. And one of the reasons that they give is that there are no metrics as to how do you say this university is doing a B+ job and this one is doing a D- job of citizenship. So we've got a little group at the Kennedy School that has started to work on the project of what should be the metrics for that a college or university in terms of its fulfillment of its self-professed commitment to citizenship. And one of our first steps is then to try to identify those colleges and universities which have a national reputation for their being superior in this area. And Tufts has just become a candidate to be on that list.
Oh, good.
But in places like Portland State have consistently been such. USC is a place that has been mentioned as having a good civic culture. But what we'd like to do is then try to understand why those institutions have the reputation, and how do they internally measure their own progress in citizenship, and see if we can't tweak out of that some principles that could be of general application.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I'd be interested to know how private universities compare with public universities, and how they discuss citizenship values, and how they implement some kind of citizenship agenda within their teaching.
Well, I would almost say it seems to me it's as much size, bigger versus smaller, as public versus private. 3 weeks ago, the campus compact that you mentioned had its annual meeting, and they give a number of awards to colleges and universities that have done a superior job. The only big university in the state that was on the board was UCF, and all the other awards went to places like Rollins and some community colleges. So I think the challenge of how do you get a big institution that has all the characteristics of a diverse faculty, many of whom have very specialized niches within their discipline, to think of citizenship as being sort of a pervasive idea that should be part of their program, like the pharmacy people have now are asking, what should we be providing to our students to be better citizens?